Hi everybody, we're going to get started in a couple of minutes. Thank you for joining me. It's 11:58 by my computer's clock, so we'll wait until noon and then we'll get started. All right, you guys, welcome. Um, Thank you for joining. I see some of your guys' comments, and I was just trying to reply and say hi back, but that was messing up a lot of stuff, and I don't want to. I don't want to get into that because that kind of freaks me out. Managing this much is let's leave it there. Welcome you guys to Wellness Wednesday, virtual yoga at GOCA. I am Dr. Debbie Pates. I am a psychologist at the UCCS Wellness Center, University of Colorado, Colorado Springs, and in partnership with UCCS's Gallery of Contemporary Arts, aka GOCA, I have led Wellness Wednesdays yoga for about a lot of years, maybe 7 years. This is my cap. And so we're bringing it to you virtual while we are on stay at home, on, I don't know what we're going to call it, extended stay at home. Anyway, on virtual life. So, come on into child's pose. Separate your knees to get more into your hips. If you want to round your low back more, keep your knees together. And whatever leg position you choose, allow your head to rest on the ground. I'm not going to keep my head down because then I'll be all muffled. But you want to try to sink your hips back towards your heels, but primary is that your head rests on the ground. And begin to breathe. The first step, the first entry point into mindfulness in a lot of the mindfulness literature is considered to be awareness of your physical self. So I invite you right now to check in with what's going on in your body. What is going on in your physical self? How are you showing up in relation to that as well? Right? So maybe your body is feeling a certain way, and then your mind is having a dialogue around that. And just notice that. Right? It's not good or bad, it just is. This is how you are today. And I invite you to work with what's showing up for you rather than against what's showing up. So as you're here in child's pose, sorry, my cat is trying to get out the window, I think. As you're here in child's pose, I also invite you to take stock of your emotional state, not just in regard to your physical self, but in general. I was thinking earlier today that if history, the timeline of history were sort of a color bar, where we are right now would be a gray period. And it's okay to feel that. Not that you need to feel gray, but to feel that uncertainty, right? If you guys are part of the university system, we got 2 emails today talking about the uncertainty of the future. In my own department, I've been getting lots and lots of communications about uncertainty. I don't even know if I'm going to be working at home or in the office next week. It's hard. It's hard to just constantly be adjusting to these things. And I invite you to allow it to be okay to feel the way you feel. You don't have to give into it. We don't have to allow it to like a wave, crash us down. But we can recognize there's ebbs and flows, there's rises, and then there's falls. It seems to me that I may be having some video problems here. I'm gonna hang on one sec, you guys. Okay, I'm back. All right. I can't see myself actually, so I hope you guys can see me here. And I'm gonna carry on with this. So from child's pose. Oh, well, let me finish with that thought I wanted to say, which is, work with what you've got. Work with what you've got today, okay? And if that means you need to take a break, then take a break. If that means you want to bring it and have a strong practice, add on to what I'm doing here. Like I said, thank you, Daisy. I cannot see myself for some reason today. I could a minute ago, and then it flipped out. So I'm just going to go for it. And I hope you guys can see me, and I hope that you can get what you came for out of this. Push up on your hands and knees. In light of all of the uncertainty, let's do some cat-cows. In light of all the uncertainty, inhale, drop your stomach, lift your gaze, tilt your tailbone up, and then on your exhale, reverse that. Push up through your shoulder blades, tuck your tail, tuck your chin, and keep going, move with your breath. I was thinking in light of all of this uncertainty that what might be nice is for us to just do a pretty basic flow. It doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be easy, but I hope for most of you who have joined me before, it's going to be familiar. And we can, in this time of constant change, take some solace in things that are familiar. Come on back to neutral. Extend your right arm and your left leg. And really reach out. Watch out for your furniture. Reach out through your hand, through your foot. Choose what you want with your foot. Do you want your foot flexed or pointed? And really reach. Get some traction here. Inhale, maybe even lift. And then put it all down. And switch. Right leg up. Flex or point, your choice. Extend your left arm. So already we're beginning to challenge balance. And if you notice that, if you feel that wobbliness, work with it, right? It isn't about constantly being solid as a rock. It's about how do you cope when you fall, when things feel less steady. Put your arm and your leg down and step back. High plank position. Hands are under your shoulders. Heels pushing back. We're going to be in plank a bunch of times in this practice. So if this is hard for you now or at any time, drop your knees. And maybe you alternate as we move through the practice. From here, without moving your hands or your feet, lift up your hips. Push into your hands, downward facing dog. Maybe pedal it out. Bend one knee and let the opposite heel sink down. Switch sides. And do that a few times. Notice how your shoulders are feeling. And then eventually, after getting a couple of wiggles out, come to stillness. The practice of asana, the physical yoga practice, was originally developed so that monks could, quite literally, get their wiggles out in order to sit through meditation. So the idea is eventually to come to stillness and turn this practice as best as you can into a moving meditation. Take a bunch of baby steps and walk to the top of the mat and hang in ragdoll. Let your knees be maybe a little bit soft. Let your head hang and be heavy. Just really, maybe even interlace your hands at the base of your skull so your thumbs are kind of right where your hairline begins. And let your elbows be by your ears. And don't pull per se, but let the added weight of your hands create a little bit more release through the back side of your back, your body, your neck especially. Notice how your breath impacts the postures as well. Your knees don't have to be straight. If you notice, my knees are not straight here. My knees are almost never straight in the practice because that's how my hamstrings show up. Release your hands and make a choice, either toes hip width, feet hip width, or bring your big toes into touch and roll up to standing. And when you get to standing, roll your shoulders up and back and down. Allow your palms to face forward. Lift your kneecaps, engage your quadriceps. Imagine that somebody was pulling an imaginary thread from the top of your head up, lengthening you toward your heavens, toward your highest self, making space for possibility. And then inhale your arms up. Bring your hands together overhead. Pull your energy into your heart. Take a breath here. Maybe push your thumbs into your sternum and feel your heart beat. Maybe close your eyes or look down or look at the middle distance. And once again, just take stock of where your body is right this minute, in this moment, in this time. Notice what's showing up for you physically. Notice what's showing up for you mentally. A practice is also about moving energy. And so hopefully your energy will shift, maybe even into a better place as we move through this practice. Sun A, inhale your arms up, exhale, dive forward. Or you can always bring hands through heart center. Halfway lift, inhale. Lengthen your spine, try to get a flat back. Exhale, put your hands down underneath your shoulders. Step back, high plank. Exhale, halfway or all the way down, so you're in chaturanga or you're laying on the floor. Roll over to the tops of your toes, upward facing dog or cobra. Pull your shoulders back and your heart through. Lift your hips, return, downward facing dog. Roll the weight into your thumb and your pointer finger. Maybe, if this makes sense to you, roll your forearms toward each other. So an internal rotation on your forearms. And then, if you can, keep keeping that, roll your biceps up toward the ceiling. All right, so kind of an opposite opposing action in your arms. And if that doesn't make sense to you, forget it, release it. Just be in downward facing dog. Pull your navel in toward your spine. But then notice if as you do that, you kind of lift your heels up and then keep abdominal engagement, but let your heels sink down. How is your breath? Breathing deeply and fully. Look in between your hands and step to the top of your space. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms out, up, rise with a flat back. Bring your palms together overhead and pull your energy into your heart. Sweep your arms up. Inhale, forward fold. Sun A again. Inhale, halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, put your hands down, step back, high plank. Inhale here in high plank. Exhale, halfway or all the way down. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Exhale. Look in between your hands and step with the opposite foot from last time to the top of your space. Halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Sweep up, rise. Hands together overhead. Bring your hands into your heart. One more time, inhale your arms up. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Step back, high plank, try to alternate feet. Chaturanga or to laying on the ground. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. So staying down dog, you can always, if you want, drop to your knees. Take a child's pose. But if you're with me, look in between your hands and step to the top of your space. Halfway lift. Forward fold, moving into Sun B. Chair pose, Utkatasana. So you want to bend your knees, stick your butt out, biceps by your ears maybe. But if that's creating a lot of tension for you, then choose a different place. Maybe you have your hands out in front of you. Maybe you bring your hands to your heart. Sink down, breathe. So I think if you guys have practiced with me before, you've heard me say quite a few times, we put our bodies in these difficult positions and see how we show up. And we practice this hard stuff, dealing with this hard stuff in a calm way on the mat for when we really face challenges in life. Well, here we go, you guys, right? We're being given a big challenge in our lives right now. So show up for yourself on the mat. Notice, do you like how you're showing up? And if you want, work with it, change it, right? On the mat, because why? Not that it matters so much on the mat, but it sure matters the whole world. It means everything off the mat. Forward fold. And I promise you guys, nothing lasts forever. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold and step back, high plank. Inhale, exhale, chaturanga or to the floor. Upward facing dog or cobra. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up into the air. Let your left heel continue to sink. Bend your knee, open your hip, and make some circles. Maybe big circles with your knee or smaller circles with your ankle. And then just put that leg down and switch sides. Lift your left leg up. Bend your knee, open up your hip as if you're going to touch your right shoulder with your left foot. Look underneath your left armpit and then circles. Knee, maybe one direction and then the other. Ankle. And then put your left foot down. Shift forward. Upper push-up position. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Look in between your hands and step to the top of your space. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold, bend your knees. Utkatasana, chair, stand up. Bring your hands to your heart and let it go. That cycle is over. Inhale your arms up. Chair, forward fold, halfway lift, lengthen. Step back to high plank. Lower chaturanga or to the earth. Upward facing dog or cobra. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. This time bring it through for a low lunge. Spin your back foot flat and rise up, warrior one. Push into your back foot to get your left hip point facing forward. Try to have a nice bend in your right knee, but keep your heel and your knee lined up. Again, just like in chair, ideally, or I should say traditionally, you would have your biceps by your ears. But if that's not comfortable for you, pick another position. It's okay. And then open up, warrior two. Reach your right arm forward, reach your left arm back. Keep your right knee tracking out over your right pinky toe. Notice if your toes on your front foot have kind of a death grip. And maybe wiggle them a little bit. Breathe here. Feel the strength, but not the rigidity in your shoulders. Stirize the strength. Reach, reach, reach forward. And then tilt, take extended side angle. So bring your forearm maybe onto your right thigh. Maybe you reach down. Maybe you even have the flexibility without crunching too much in your low body to touch the floor. You can also kind of simulate that by having a block. And maybe you can lean a little bit onto your right leg, right thigh, helping it open if that feels good. Reaching your arm up, up, up toward the sky. Breathe. And then keep the bend in your front knee. Reverse your warrior. Let your left hand come down your left leg or maybe go behind your back. Reaching back toward the right with your right arm. Maybe look up at your hand. Maybe you look down at your left foot. Breathe, reach, inhale. And then exhale, helicopter down. If you had a block, move it out of your way. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Make your way to downward facing dog. Maybe you come through child's pose like I just did. Lift your left leg up. Bend your knee and bring it through low lunge. Spin your back foot flat. I'm going to spin around here, rise, warrior one. So this first time we're going to take it a little more slowly. Again, push into your back foot to get your right hip point facing forward. Bend your knee, but not so much that your heel and knee are out of alignment. Having it out of alignment this way is better than having your knee jutting out. We want to protect the joints. It's not about how it looks. It's about the longevity of your practice, right? And then open up, warrior two. Think about keeping your left knee tracking out and this right hip point opening up as you open up to warrior two. Energy through your arms, but no death grip on your front toes there. So some buoyancy, some suppleness, some softness. Even as we hold these strong postures, reach forward, extended side angle. Find your posture. Maybe, right, leaning a little bit into your left thigh to help open it up. But if that puts pressure on your shoulder, right, you don't want to be sinking and grinding into your shoulder. So be conscious of the whole system, right? The systemic impact of these postures, not just, oh, I'm going to push into my knee. Reverse your warrior. Keep your left knee bent and reach back. So again, maybe you look up at your left hand, or depending on how it feels in your neck, you look down at your right foot, or maybe you even find a more neutral spine or a more neutral head position, maybe in line with the rest of your spine. Reach, reach, reach. Pull your hand back and your knee forward. Helicopter down. Step back, high plank. Chaturanga or laying on the earth. Pull your heart forward and your shoulders back. Downward facing dog. Maybe side out. Noticing that you're moving the energy already, right? It's probably a given you don't feel the way you did 5-7 minutes ago, right? So that's not a bad thing at all, is it? Look in between your hands. Step to the top of your space. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Bend your knees, rise. Utkatasana, chair. Stand up. Bring your hands together overhead. And pull that energy and that goodness into your own heart. Inhale your arms up. We'll flow through that. Exhale, chair pose. Forward fold, halfway lift, inhale. step back, high plank. Lower halfway or all the way. Upward facing dog or cobra. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. Bend your knee, bring it through, low lunge. Spin your back foot flat. Rise, Virabhadrasana 1. Open. Virabhadrasana 2. Reach. Extended side angle. Maybe this time, bicep by your ear, palm facing the floor. And then reverse. Inhale. Exhale. Take it down. Step back, high plank. Lower. Rise. Hips up. Down dog. Lift your left leg up. Bend your knee, bring it through, low lunge. Back foot flat. Warrior 1. Warrior 2. Reach. Extended side angle, bicep by ear, palm facing floor. Reverse. Keep your knee bending. Inhale. Take it down. It's okay to get a little bit out of breath. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. And then downward facing dog. Look to your space. Your mat. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Bend your knees. Utkatasana chair. Stand up and bring your hands to your heart. We're going to go through that again one more time, but we're going to add a little bit of movement when we get, well, you'll see in a second. All right, inhale your arms up. Chair pose. Forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. Step back, high plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. Bend your knee, bring it through, low lunge. Back foot flat. Rise, warrior 1. Open, warrior 2. Reach forward, side angle. And we're going to do a little bit of a tick-tocking here. So this is going to be on your own time. So from extended side angle, keep your knee bent. Come to reverse warrior. And then back. Extended, reverse. And you're at home, right? Play around with your arms. Maybe make it like a underwater creature or a flower. Whatever feels good to you. Let it feel good. It's really what I'm going for here. Let it feel good. Reaching, moving through your body. Come on back to extended, to a reverse warrior. Inhale here. And then helicopter down. Step back, high plank. Lower halfway or all the way to the floor. Wherever you are, keep your elbows hugging in. Upward facing dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Same thing, other side. Lift your left leg up. Bring it through, low lunge. Spin your back foot flat. Rise. Warrior 1. Open. Warrior 2. Reach. Extended side angle. And then again. Reverse. And turn it into a dance. You can play around with your arm positions. Playing with your breath. Let it feel good. Let it feel organic. One more time. Ending in reverse warrior. Inhale. Stretch knee and fingertips away from each other. And windmill down. High plank. Lower. Upward facing dog and downward facing dog. Look in between your hands and step or walk. Make your way to the top of your space. You can always jump. Halfway lift, lengthen your spine. Try to keep your head in line with your neck. So I'm used to trying to project and I don't keep my head in line with my neck, but you do want to do that. You want to remember that your head your neck is part of your spine. Right, so you want to be looking down, not up. Forward fold, Utkatasana, chair, come to standing, bring your hands together overhead, and pull that energy into your heart. Inhale your arms up. Exhale, chair. Let's do a little bit of balancing. Let's come on into eagle pose. Bring your right arm underneath your left and twist them. If you can't, you want to stack your elbows, twist, grab palms. If you can't do that, then just grab opposite shoulders. Shift your weight into your left foot and bring your right thigh up and over so you're squeezing your thighs together here. You can always have your right toes on the ground on the outside of your left foot. If you can, bring your right foot behind your left calf, but the reason I'm not doing that is because I can't do it. You can also lift your elbows up maybe if that feels good for you, noticing the stretch behind your shoulder blades there, and maybe also move your hands away from your face, sink down a little bit lower, keep on breathing, and then release, stand up, chair pose, eagle other side, left arm under, left leg up and over. So again, balance can be challenging, right? And I don't know if it's true that when one part of our life is out of balance, it makes other parts of our lives more difficult to balance in. But if that is true, I'd be surprised if any of us were standing up on one foot for very long. Release. Inhale your arms up. Bring your hands together and pull the energy into your heart. Really, you guys, it's a wonder that we're making this all work. As much as we ever make things up as we go along, boy, we're really making it up as we go along this time. Inhale your arms up. Dancer. Bring your right elbow to your right rib cage. And then without flipping your hand, so your thumb stays pointing back, just drop your hand down. Reach up and grab the inside of your right foot. If, like me, you just separated your knees, bring your knees back together. You might stay here. Today I'm feeling a pretty big stretch in my right shoulder right here. But if you want to go further, begin to kick into your hand. Try to drive your knee straight back, not letting it splay out. Right? So when you drive your knee straight back, you may not get as much height as when you allow your knee to splay out. But it's not about getting the height. It's about the stretch that you get in the front of your thigh and maybe in the top of your right shoulder. And then when you're ready, release and switch sides. Inhale your arms up. Bring your left elbow to your left rib cage. Drop your left hand down. Grab your left foot. See, I have to cock my knee out to grab my foot here. Grab your left foot from the inside, but then bring it in back in line and begin to kick. And maybe your upper body comes forward. Drishti means drishti is your gaze. So staring at one unmoving point is going to help with your balance. Breathe. Let the kick into your hand. Open your shoulder. Open your heart. And then, when you're ready, release. Let's do tree pose. So it's springtime. Next week I think I'll do our mandala flow for the first day of spring. But it's springtime, so let's take tree pose. Couple different variations of tree that you can take, right? Normal. You could have your toes on the ground, bring your heel up to your ankle, shift your weight into your left foot, so you're standing on the left foot first. You could bring your foot to your shin, avoid your knee, and you could bring your foot to your inner thigh, or if you want, take an Ashtanga version of this, which is similar to a Bikram version, and in that version, which I don't think I'm going to be able to get very well today, you would bring your foot facing up into your hip crease and allow your knee to come down. And then if you have to hold your foot to keep it there, do so. I'm sort of slouching forward. So reconnect with a tall spine here. Some people can keep their foot there and bring both hands together at their heart. Whichever version of tree you're in, if you want to grow branches, go ahead, right? Maybe lift your arms up. Maybe allow your tree to sway back and forth, keeping your breath flowing. Maybe you guys have seen trees that fall in hurricanes. I'll finish that in a second. Release, bring your right foot down. Shake out your hips if you need to. Sometimes my standing hip tightens up a little bit in tree. And then shift weight into your right foot. And same thing, other side. Maybe toes are on the floor, heel on your ankle. Come to your shin, come up, or try that Ashtanga version. So tree is a hip opener, right? And then in this Ashtanga version, you feel it pretty strongly. You want, wherever you are, your knee going out to the side. So I don't know how well you can see it. My left hip is pretty tight right now. And so my knee is actually hovering, almost as if it's on some kind of shelf here, right? It's just where your body is today. And then maybe you grow your branches. Maybe you sway. Right, so sometimes a tree will fall over in a hurricane or something, but there are still some roots in the ground, and the main trunk has fallen over, but new shoots start growing up, right? So resilience, release. Inhale your arms up. Bring your hands together, overhead. Excuse me, pull your hands into your heart and pause. You are being so resilient right now. You are getting up every day and doing what you need to do in this gray, uncertain time. Today is a beautiful sunny day, but again, that timeline of history, if it were a color bar, this would be gray. And you're doing so well. These hands at your own heart are a salute to you. Honor and respect yourself. Be proud of yourself and the effort you're putting in. I know it's hard. Let's move on. Let's do a little bit of stretching for the shoulders, actually. Inhale your arms up. And clasp your hands together and turn your palms inside out toward the ceiling. Exhale over to the right, push your hip to the left. Don't go too far. Come on back up. Switch sides, breathe. Exhale as you come down. And then inhale, come on back up. And we're going to kind of round the upper back and push your hands away from you. Get some wiggles in if that feels nice. So you're pushing your palms away, rounding. This doesn't need to look pretty at all. It just is supposed to feel good. Maybe even rounding through your low back there. And then inhale back up. Separate your hands, separate your elbows, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Let your hands keep coming down. Squeeze, clasp your hands together behind your back and open up. Squeeze your shoulder blades. Open your heart. Try not to crunch too much in your low back here. And then release. Come to the top of your space. Inhale your arms up. Utkatasana, chair. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Inhale. Exhale, put your hands down, step back. High plank. Lower, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. Bend your knee, bring it through low lunge. This time stay on your back heel and rise for crescent. Push your left heel away from you and bring your left hip point forward. Sink into your right knee. Feel a nice stretch across the top of your left leg here. Keep breathing. Keep reaching your hands up, your torso up, your waist up. Not too much pressure in your shoulders though. Bring your hands together at your heart. Bow forward, hinge forward, I should say, with your torso, and then twist. Bring your left elbow to the outside of your right knee. And if you want to drop your back knee here, drop your back knee. Breathe. Try not to collapse your right knee into the left. So push your knee to the right into your elbow. And then push your elbow back into your knee, keeping the upper body active. You can push your top hand into your bottom hand, just levels of engagement. And then release. Bring your hands to the inside of your front thigh. Drop your back knee and sink down into runner's lunge. So maybe you stay right here. Maybe you don't bend your elbows at all, if that's what your body's got today. Maybe you could sink down onto your elbows. Maybe you can lay all the way down on the floor. If you've got a block and you want to put a block underneath your elbows, go ahead and do that. And we'll stay here for a couple of breaths. Checking my time. So again, I can't see myself at all here. My screen is black. I hope you guys can see me. Breathe. So, right, we just roll with stuff. We roll with glitches. We roll with technical difficulties. It's not ideal, but that doesn't mean we need to get flustered, right? I mean, maybe there's a little bit going on. I wish I could see what's going on over here. That's okay. We just roll with it. And we practice doing this again and again and again. And you know, here's maybe the bummer. We're never going to get it perfect. It's not one of those things we get perfect. We just keep on practicing and challenging ourselves to show up in the best way possible. We're going to move from here into side planks. So your left knee is on the ground right now. You can keep your left knee on the ground or come up onto your left toes. Bring your right foot back to meet your left, or your knees on the ground. Bring your right leg back and lift your right arm. Side plank. Vasisthasana, yes, rainbow pose. So try to make your body in as much of an arc as you can. Maybe even again, bicep over your ear. Reaching from edge of right foot all the way through right fingers. Bring your arm back up. Bring your right hand down to the earth. High plank position. You can lift your hips right up into downward facing dog from here, or vinyasa. Take a breath, down dog. It's like home base, right? We come back. We find our body in this position and feel comfortable for a breath or two. We reset. We recharge, and then we move on. Lift your left leg up. Bend your knee, bring it through for a low lunge. Keep your right heel lifted and rise. Crescent lunge. I'm trying not to have any wardrobe malfunctions here today. Push your right heel back and your right hip point forward. Breathe. Notice where the weight is in your left foot. Is it evenly distributed? Is it more in your heel? I'm not even making a suggestion that you change anything. I'm just inviting you to notice here. And then bring your hands together. Bring them to your heart. Hinge forward at your waist. And then twist. Right elbow to the outside of your left knee. You can drop your right knee, to the ground if you want. And again, all of those little checks. Pushing your knee into your elbow, elbow into knee, top hand into bottom hand. Growing this twist. Breathing, letting the inhales lengthen you and the exhales deepen the twist, even if it doesn't look like much of anything. And then release, hands to the inside of your left thigh, left foot, drop your right knee, and come on down to your degree. Runner's lunge. You might want to toe heel your left foot up a little bit to create more space for your hip. And wherever you are, maybe just have a mantra here. I'm doing my best. I'm doing great. I'm doing my best. And you know what, you guys, if you're doing your best, really, if you're doing your best, how much more can you do? I can't do better than my best, right? So if you're giving it what you can give it, then maybe stop and give yourself a break. If you're doing your best, you're doing it perfectly. Keep breathing. And then we're going to move from here into side plank. So again, you can do it with your knee on the ground, but wherever you are, collect yourself, come up onto your hands. Right hand and right knee or edge of right foot stay on the ground, and you bring your left leg back and lift your left arm. If your feet, if both of your legs are straight, maybe think about trying to stack your feet rather than having one next to each other. You don't have to do that, but it's a little fun challenge. Maybe bring your left bicep by your left ear and pull, pull, reach, reach, reach. Bring your left arm back up onto the earth. You're in high plank. Make your way to down dog. Nice job, you guys. Enjoy. A couple of breaths in dog here. Maybe come back to those pointers. Roll your weight to your thumb and your pointer finger. Roll your forearms toward each other. Roll your biceps up. Let your shoulder blades come down your back. Let your heels go toward the floor, but you want your hips to rise. So maybe play with this just for fun for a second. Bend your knees. Push strongly into your hands and feel, lift your butt up higher, trying to get your back as long as you can, and then keeping that length and that abdominal engagement. Maybe let your heels sink back toward the ground. And then from here, just come and shift forward into high plank and lower all the way to laying on your stomach. So we did dancer, that was a heart opener. We're going to do a couple more heart openers, aka back bends and back strengtheners. So keep your hands underneath, zip up your legs. Have your thighs, as much of your legs touching as you can. And clasp your hands behind your back. Straighten-ish your elbows. And on your next in-breath, lift. Lift whatever you can, as much as you can, as high as you want. As much as you can, as high as you want. So there's a lot of play there, right? It's going to be looking real different from each other. Not that we could see each other, but you might even look different than you did in this posture the other day. Keep breathing, keep lifting. I know it's hard. And then release. Turn your head to one side, arms alongside your body, palms facing up. I want to get to another standing sequence before we come all the way down to the floor. So let's keep moving. Bring your head to center, bend your knees. Let's move into bow pose. So grab your feet from the outside. If you notice, I had to come through the inside to get to the outside. That's okay. That's how my body works. But have your hands on the outside eventually. Bring your knees back to hip width. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. And again, kick and lift. Whatever you can, as high as you want. And in this posture, maybe you let the kick help open up your shoulders, reversing that hunch that we develop over time, strengthening our back muscles, and then release. Turn your head to the opposite side. Arms alongside your body, palms facing up, and feel your heart beating into the earth. Feel your stomach breathing. Feel yourself alive. And be grateful. Be grateful that we're alive and we're strong and healthy enough to be practicing yoga at whatever capacity. Bring your forehead center. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck your elbows, hug your elbows in. Tuck your toes. And when you are ready, a little bit of strength, push up. One push up, yay. Lift your hips. Downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up. Bend your knee, bring it through, low lunge. Spin your back foot flat. Rise, warrior one. Spin around here. Open up, warrior two. Straighten your right knee. Come on into triangle pose. So reach, 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 reach forward, getting length on both sides of your body. And when you can't reach any more forward, drop your right arm down, tilt, left arm up. And maybe you look up for a moment, even if it doesn't feel good. Like, I don't like keeping my neck that way, it hurts. But look up for a moment and see if your hand is right above your head. And if you can't get it there, don't worry about it. But that's where we want our hand in this position. Try to remember to keep length in your low body, lower underside of your body. And then come on up. Turn your feet parallel to each other, or maybe even a little bit pigeon-toed. Clasp your hands behind your back. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Open up your heart. And then bow forward, allowing your hands to come off your back, toward the floor, overhead. Wide-legged, forward bend. Opening up the backs of your legs. And you know, in service of that, you guys, think about, if you can, engage your quadriceps. And notice how that allows your hamstrings to release a little bit. And if you can, engage your stomach. It's going to allow your low back to release a little bit. Let your head be heavy. And then release your hands. Crawl your body over towards your right foot. And with your left hand, grab your right leg somewhere. Maybe on your ankle, maybe on your shin. And then bring your right forearm behind your right calf. You can even rest your head on your left bicep. Breathe. Noticing the opening in your low back, the twist, and then switch. Walk over to your left leg, grab the outside of your left leg somewhere with your right hand. You could rest your head on your right bicep and then bring your left forearm behind your left shin. Breathe. We're just going to be here for a few breaths, right? So don't be reactive to it and soften into it. Get it while you can. And then release. Come on back, down the middle. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, bring your hands onto your hips. Elbows squeezing toward each other. Inhale, rise up. Turn your right foot forward, warrior two to the front of your mat. Reverse warrior. Let it feel good. And take it down. High plank, chaturanga, up dog, to downward facing dog. And then the same thing, other side. I'm going to flip around again. We're actually going to mix it up a little bit, but not this first part. Left leg lifts, come through, warrior one, warrior two. Straighten your left knee. Reach, 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 reach to eternity, tilt. So think about in this posture, right? We go down, but then maybe lift up a little bit. Not through your arm, but through the energy of your torso, right? Almost as if there was a hook on the ceiling and you could grab it, right? So a little bit more engagement through your core muscles here. Triangle pose, Trikonasana. Breathe, keep breathing, and then rise up. And this time, turn your feet both out, okay? Turn your feet both out. And just for a moment, horse pose. So bend your knees, have your elbows in and your palms up. This is also called goddess pose. Breathe. And think about your divine energy. We all have it. And allow that to flow through you. You are divine. Whatever that means. You are divine. You can imagine, like, you know, those old movies, it's divine. You have that cigarette holder, right? You are divine. Okay, take your hands, use your hands, and put them on your thighs with your thumbs facing down and your fingers pointing back. And We're gonna get juicy in our shoulders here. So drop your right shoulder, push into your right knee, and look up over your left shoulder. Really push, really allow the strength of your arm to help you get into this posture. Twisting, lifting out of your low back, and then switch sides. Drop your left shoulder, push into your left leg. So again, it's not only a sinking, it's a sinking and a lifting and a lengthening as you look up over your right shoulder. One more time, right shoulder, down, left, look over left, quick here. Come on back to center, rise up, warrior two to the front, flip your left palm, reverse your warrior, and then windmill your hands down, step back to high plank, chaturanga or the earth, up dog or cobra, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up, bend your knee and bring it to the earth behind your right knee, right hand, pigeon pose. Walk your left knee back behind you and come on down. Allow your forehead to rest. So if your forehead does not easily rest on the floor, maybe you stack one hand on top of the other or fists on top of the other. But let your head rest. Let your spinal cord, let your spinal cord get the message, it's okay. Right? So when your head is up and your neck is tensed, your whole body is going to respond to that, right? The irony of pushing too hard into a posture is that our body tenses up, right? So it may look like we're getting further into it, but in fact our body sends a resistance response. So allow your head to rest, allow your head to drop. Be where you are, not where you think you'd like to be, because you're not there, you're where you are, right? So we work with ourselves, and then we move forward, right? It's not that you can't get where you want to be, but you are where you are right now. Keep breathing. And then come on and sit up. Tuck your left toes. Lift your left knee. Step back. Just come right into down dog. Notice if you feel any difference between both sides. You might not. And then lift your left leg up. Pigeon on the left side. Bring your left knee behind your left wrist. Walk your right knee back a little bit to create some space in your pelvic area, and come on down. So this side may be different. Maybe you have a different experience with getting your foot down toward, or your head down toward the ground. Okay, so just accommodate that, both mentally and physically, right? So when we think about mindfulness, one of the goals of mindfulness is to step away from reactivity, step away from judgment, right? And not so much see things as good or bad, but they just are. So your experience on this side, in this posture, on this day, it just is. Be present for what shows up without needing to label it or become reactive to it. And again, this is a practice, right? We work on it. Again and again and again. And then this time, come up onto your forearm, sit over onto your left hip, and swing both feet around in front of you. We're going to do first Dandasana, and then Paschimottanasana, which is forward fold. So in Dandasana, what I want you guys to do is sit up really straight. If you can, Push your palms into the floor next to you. Roll your shoulders up and back and down. Flex your feet, maybe even so hard that your heels come off the floor. So this doesn't look like much, but this is a very active posture. And then lift your arms up. Keep that engagement in your upper body and lower body. Lift your arms up, and from your hips, bow forward, trying to get your forehead beyond your toes. And then let your hands come down wherever they will. So you're trying to get length and not round your spine, but most of us are going to have a somewhat rounded spine. That's okay. You don't have to grab your feet in this posture. Sometimes I see people, right, I'm going to put my my shoulder blades back on my back. And this is where my arms go to. And I can bow forward a little bit more and grab my feet. Sometimes I see people really hyperextending their shoulders just to get their feet. It's not about what the posture looks like. It's about getting the benefit in your body. So maybe you can grab your feet. If you can grab your feet and it's so easy for you, take your block, put it behind your feet, and clasp hands beyond the block. As you can see, I can't do that. Some people can rest their elbows on the ground and do that. Go where your body lets you go. And if your body lets you go this far, then good. That's where you go. And then come on up, you guys, and roll, adjust according to your furniture, etc. Roll all the way down onto your back and hug your knees into each other. Hug your knees into your chest. Rock left to right. Maybe experiment with how close your knees are into your chest and how the rocking feels different along your back based on where your knees are, and find what feels good. Right? There's no reason you can't just hang out where it feels good. Let your left leg come long. Before we go into a twist, we're going to do half happy baby. Point the sole of your right foot up toward the ceiling. Grab onto both sides of your feet, one with each hand, and pull your knee down on the outside of your right rib cage. If you want, bend your left knee and put your foot on the ground. So one final hip opener here. Really try to have your sole of your foot facing the ceiling. And then release that, let your left leg go long again, if that works for your body. And twist. Right knee goes across to the left side of your body. To your right arm out, look right. Switch. Put your right foot flat on the ground. Hug your left knee in, grab your left foot, and pull your knee down on the outside of your left rib cage, sole of your foot facing the ceiling. And if you want, experiment with straightening your right leg. And you'll notice that the stretch is going to feel different based on where your right leg is. And decide which way feels best for you, and stay with that one. Spinal twist. Left knee to the right side. Couple of breaths. And then come back center and release. Shavasana, lay on your back. Let it go. Let your body integrate the practice. I'm going to read you guys something that I've been saving here. I hope that you've been able to see this whole time. And if you weren't able to see it, perhaps you were able to hear it. So this is a poem that's been going around on the internet, and it was actually written in 1869 during a 1919 pandemic. And people stayed home and read books and listened, and they rested and did exercises and played and learned new ways of being and stopped and listened more deeply. Someone meditated, someone prayed, someone met their shadow, and people began to think differently, and people healed. And in the absence of people who lived in ignorant ways, dangerous, meaningless, and heartless, the earth also began to heal. And when the danger ended and people found themselves, they grieved for the dead and made new choices and dreamed of new visions and created new ways of living and completely healed the earth just as they were healed. It was written in 1919. I don't know how well we've learned those lessons. Maybe we forget them and come back to them. Begin to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Maybe turning your wrists and elbows, going side to side a little bit. And then bring yourself up to a seated position in whatever way feels good to you. And when you get to seated, just for a moment, please come to a space of gratitude. Grateful for this chance to slow down. Grateful for this chance to heal. Grateful for this chance to practice yoga with you. I hope you were able to see this. Join me again next week, Wednesday. I'll play around with it and make sure it works a little better this time. Namaste. Thank you very much.